That's kind of fucked up when you got 70-year-olds in the house. Hey, I ain't meaning to be ageist, bro, but come on. Especially when there's 70-year-olds that live, 70-year-old white people that live through a lot of fuckery, man.
Son.
Shuffle the deck.
One code, one thing, one rule, man, that shit don't change. And it's certain real niggas do real fucking things.
Most of the power, like the power that matters in this country, is like confined to little sections. And to like evenly distribute power would effectively like make all those sections obsolete.
And that's what they're afraid of, because that's the thing too. That's one of the most heartbreaking things about like when you look at this pandemic shit. You know what I mean? Of y'all motherfuckers don't really care about people dying as much as business and economy and capitalism thriving.
Let me tell you something, dog. I respect American capitalism a lot more if they give everyone an equal chance to fuck over everybody. You know what I mean?
But that means breaking us off.
That's what I'm saying, though.
That means a lot. It means shuffling the deck. It means breaking us off. That means equally distributing power. You know what I mean? Like that means so many things that's too noble for us. Because
say, like, can you even do that?
Can or will?
Can you evenly distribute power? Like evenly in terms of what?
Evenly in terms of what's the word I'm looking for? Equity. That's the word. So it's like if it's
I'll take equity.
You know what I mean? Like even out by equitable means would make sense.
We're gonna build a new settlement. We'll have a happy new life and we'll have equal rights for all, except blacks, Asians, Hispanics, Jews, gays, women, Muslims, everybody who's not a white man. And I mean white. So no Italians, no Polish, just people from Ireland, England, and Scotland. But only certain parts of Scotland and Ireland. Just full-blooded whites. No, you know what? Not even whites. Nobody gets any rights. America.
People dying is not a thing. It's just really about the numbers. It's just really about the money.
It's about the numbers.
And
as it's always been.
And it continues to be. And then no matter how blatant it gets, it's
the American
way.
It's the American way. They have to drive the country at the end of the fucking day, son. People talking about the government is being bought out. No, the government is bought. The government been bought out.
Constituents call their congressman about a problem. He says, "You're right. There ought to be a new law." Whizzes the bill off the typewriter, ushers it past his finger-pointing colleagues, and then secures the president's rubber stamp. Turns out someone else has their finger in a lot of those bills. Lobbyists. They could play a big role these days, like when more than 6,000 hired hands weighed in on the 2017 tax reform bill. But that's all public. Here's the hush-hush process. Legislative staff members in D.C. and state houses are not always the ones writing the bills. Sometimes outside groups hand-deliver pre-drafted legislation to lawmakers. Take Florida's Stand Ground law, which some argued gave George Zimmerman legal protection in 2012 when he killed Trayvon Martin, a teen boy walking alone, unarmed. It actually was a private group called the American Legislative Exchange Council, or ALEC, that drafted that bill. And ALEC got similar stand your ground laws introduced in 8 other states during the 2010 and 2011 session.
Yeah,
how can these interests lobby a person to do something for their interests, and their interests half the time have nothing to do with the interests of the people? So no matter how much the people vote, if that lobbyist comes and swipe it through, it's the same fucking jerk and circle, and they go back to what I said earlier. We all know this. And it's still happening. It's like, damn, you fucking my wife in front of me. And I just gotta watch that shit.
Yep, being gonna fuck you too.
No, it's not a question of every man standing on his own ground. All of the ground, damn near, of this planet has been taken from almost all of the people of color on this planet. Australia was a black continent. Africa was a black continent. North America was a red continent. South America was a red continent. You are not standing on your own ground. You are standing on red ground. And that's what it means to be white. To say that you're standing on your own ground and standing on somebody else's. And then mystify the whole process so it seems like you're not doing that.
Honestly, brother, country, like the population, like we're just not pissed off enough yet as a whole to effect change. If we were, we would mobilize. But like, too many people are still essentially satisfied with the fucking status quo. Like nobody really wants to put in the fucking work because like that's what it's actually gonna take. It's gonna take real work.
Yeah, because motherfuckers going crazy
do.
to put down it because they gotta put down their iPhones and shit.
Yeah.
Motherfuckers going crazy because they can't go outside.
Niggas want to stay fucking home though. Niggas don't want to do nothing.
Niggas don't do no real work for nothing real, dog.
Excuse me, ma'am. I'm sorry. Could you tell me where your marshmallows are? I make the best candied yams for my family, so I just need to know where they are. What aisle is it on? Well, ma'am, just like the candy aisle. So, I mean, you're not gonna find marshmallows on this aisle. Oh, Shani! No, stop playing. I got a customer right here. Where the marshmallows at? I don't know. Go ask her over there. Excuse me, that young lady told me come ask you where the marshmallows might be. Said, love, I just work in the stocking room, you're out.
But it's not even just, I want to say this too, it's not even just that we're not pissed off enough. Is that on top of, it's a different time and like, we've won certain things, but we did like, those victories, those wins.
Those battles didn't affect the war.
No, they did affect the war and that's the problem. Like we didn't win the war. It's like what I said. Okay, I was talking about this recently online. A lot of people. It's ironic. A lot of black people hate Barack because he black. And they like, people's like, what you talking about? I'm like, because the expectations that you put on Barack because he was a black president.
You thought that nigga was gonna be out.
You thought he was gonna be able to do everything for black people, and because you placed certain expectations on him, truthfully, if Obama did everything he did in his presidency, the exact same way, but he was white, a lot of y'all black people that hate him wouldn't even hate him. Y'all would love him. Bill Clinton did way worse shit, and y'all let him slide because he was charismatic and shit. You know what I mean? But I bet you any fucking money if he was just as cool, just as everything that Barack was, but he was a white man, y'all wouldn't have those black expectations. So in a weird way, his blackness is is intrinsic to part of the reason why y'all hating on this man. When truthfully, he couldn't be the radical. He the first nigga in.
Right, he the first one.
Jackie Robinson couldn't come in that bitch being like, hey, why did he get, you know what I mean? You gotta come in and play it a certain way so the next motherfucker can do things. And like people don't be seeing the long fuck. People thought Barack was the finish line. He was the win. And no, Barack was just the first hit. The first one. It was supposed to be the first lick, and people gave up their voting power and gave up so much shit and got lax because they thought that was going to just be the win for black people. It's because we have won some. A lot of us have gotten complacent. Some of us have gotten good. Well, I'm good, so I ain't worrying about who ain't good. You know what I'm saying? And that split us in a manner that we weren't split in previous generations.
Yeah, and honestly, that's like simply what I mean by when I say that we're not pissed off enough. That just really means that we just become very complacent in this whole fucking shit.
Picked me up, brought me to the hospital. He didn't drop me off at the ambulance and say, you take him. He brought me to the hospital room and made two and stood there and waited till the doctor said he's gonna make it. He said, don't worry, my name's Uncle Bob. He was white as snow. The that hopped over me was blacker than me.
Was he a cop?
Yeah, he was a cop, and my life was saved by a white man. I don't know what racism is.
Racism, we might all deal with it on some scale, but like, if you could just take away other problems of depression, then deal with, like, if I could take away with being broke and fucking stuck in poverty and all this other shit in the third, if all of my battle was racism, then I could deal with that.
And that's what they be thinking, and that's what be happening because a lot more of us like.
Because I go back to my castle. With my fucking nice fruits.
You can just go home.
Yeah.
You know?
And some people don't want to remember that they black. Some people don't want to be taken back to any of it. There's some people that are inherently ashamed of our history and ashamed of the stereotypes. So then they kind of block it out. Like you said, they'll bubble themselves, and you like, bro, like if you would help, it would help. Because I want to say this too. They got motherfuckers that don't look up. There's always people working. There's always people working. They got civil rights agents out there at all times that are working, that's doing the hard work.
There's people out there every day
always, man.
Doing God's work.
For real. So don't be like, I hate when people like, we ain't even doing nothing. Like, no, you're not doing anything. A lot of people are, but it's not enough support.
One goal, one thing, one rule, man, that shit don't change. And it's real niggas do real fucking things.